picked up a pair of LS12s the other day for almost no money, mainly because I'm up here in rural Northern California, right in the middle of the wine and pot country. So there really isn't a used audio market up here, much less Craigslist, and you wouldn't want to ship these monsters out of eBay. It cost a fortune. So they were owned by a buddy of mine who picked them up some time ago for a project he was going to embark on, and it never came to fruition. So he asked me if I wanted them. I gave him some beer money for them, and I think I gave him 50 bucks. And I picked them up as a DIY project. I just want to hot rod them, basically leave them stock, the drivers anyway, but do some other work to them, which I'll present in a series of videos. But Cerwin Vega has an interesting reputation in the audio world, and they take a lot of grief, but I don't think it's appropriate in that these aren't sold as audiophile. They're a tool that is beautifully crafted for the exact job the builders have in mind, which is to play rock and roll music very loud and have it sound really good. And that's what these things do. And I listen to principally rock music. I grew up in San Francisco, so I was around in the 60s when it was all happening. But the other thing to keep in mind is audiophiles lose sight of the fact that 80% of all the musical recordings available in the world were made with less than audiophile studio equipment. So to worry about a loss of this or that is no big deal. In jazz, can you imagine the horrible equipment a lot of those guys had? I mean, if it wasn't for the Van Gelders, wouldn't have most of it. But these things are nice speakers and they'll sound great, but they're made to be affordable. So they skimp on some of the parts that would otherwise cost a lot of extra money. And that's what I'm going to change. So bracing, dampening, crossovers, that sort of thing. So I will get this thing ready to go. So there are the parts. Like I said, I'm going to keep the drivers. Also, I went and got some hot rod undercoating, which they use on cars to kill road noise. So I sprayed these mid-range cups to keep them from ringing as much. I think that'll be quite helpful. The other thing I wanted to make clear, as you can see, I decided to make, or I should say, to use screws with the new bracing on this cabinet, just for a little bit more rigidity. And like I was saying about Cerwin Vega, they're not sold as audiophile, nor are they sold as furniture, so aesthetically you're not really doing much. So I have the 2.5-inch screws on this side, and then same thing on this side. So some people may not want to be drilling holes in their cabinets, but it doesn't matter to me. With these anyway, there isn't even a wood veneer on them. It's plastic made to look like wood grain. So just thought I'd show you that. And as I also said, I'm using liquid nails to help secure it. And afterward, I went in and used liquid nails on every joint to make sure that things were nice and tight. And then you can see some liquid nails there on the port. I use that to attach the cardboard. That's a cardboard cylinder they use. Well, if you have LS12s, you know that already. The reason for the blue painter's tape around that rim there is that I am going to do some painting. Just to customize, like I said, this is a hot rod project, so I got to put some hot rod paint in there. I think I'm going to do some candy apple blue on the inside, leave the outside black. Also, as you can see, I have 4 dowels up top, 2 between the mid and the tweeter, and 2 between the mid and the woofer. And then I just put 1 dowel back there, or down there on the bottom. I didn't want to add too much more mass with those big old port cones in there. When I took these apart, the cones had actually fallen off, so the glue is really crappy. That's why I went ahead and used liquid nails to put it all back together. And then here I've got the crossovers, and one of them is finished, the other I have to work on. And I bought some of this no-res for inside the cabinets. We'll see, it's expensive, but what the hell. I'm just doing this project for fun anyway, so yeah, I bought decent caps. I didn't spend huge amounts of money, just Parts Express stuff, and put them on some project board, and I haven't mounted them in the cabinets yet, but I'll show all that a little later. Here I just wanted to give you a way to see a little bit more of the work, and also notice that this cabinet's already lined with the no-res, and this stuff's pretty easy to work with, and we'll see how it goes. So these are the dowels, the ports, the no-res, and pretty soon we'll have some crossovers right in here. So I've cut these all to size, and then I drilled them so I can use these deck screws. And what are these? 2.5 inch. And I'm using these for a couple of reasons. One is driving it in that far just makes the dowel that much sturdier and that much less prone to vibration. So then I center drill them, get a pilot hole for these studs, for these screws, after I've cut these to length and made sure they fit. And then I do this. Let's just do one. Run the screws all the way in and all the way out, so that when you install them, there's no problem holding the rod itself, because otherwise it'll spin and all sorts of things. The other thing is, now I know it's not going to split. And I've countersunk these holes because when you're going in to install them, the screw will be sticking through the cabinet, and it's really hard to find just that pilot hole. You'll fumble around and try to turn the screw and see if it's in the right place, because you don't want to run it in somewhere else and then split it. Whereas with this deep countersink, you can actually watch the head of the screw connect there when you look through the holes in the speaker cabinet, and then just hold it and run both sides in. I lay the speaker on the side, and also use my liquid nails. So just wanted to show you, this is just straight common pine, I guess, dowel, 1 inch. Yeah, this is 1 inch. Okay, so finish this up and then go install. So I think it's February 22nd or 23rd. The rest of the country is frozen over. I have this bench on rollers. In the summer, it'll be beautiful about 8 months a year, and I just love to roll this thing out and work out here in the sunshine. And although in the summer it gets in the hundreds, so as you can see, well, maybe you can, maybe you can't. As you can see here, I hope, I've countersunk all these holes so that the stud or the screw will go in and sit flush, even a little bit more than that once it's screwed in tight. And after I countersunk the holes, I just took a Sharpie and blackened them so that they don't look like particle board on the inside. So, time to get ready to install. So, goddamn thing, I just bought this too because it's the big one. And the teeth are already torn out of it. Piece of garbage made out of really light gauge tin. That's working a little bit now, but it keeps ratcheting. So here we go, putting some liquid nails on my dowel, and then I just go ahead and get a whole bunch of this stuff on my finger. Find the hole, there it is. And now the other side. And go ahead and slip a screw in there. And now it's easy, see, to find the hole. God, this is all sounding too sexual. And I just run a couple threads in there. And then go around to the back and put the screw in just a little ways, because I have to do it by reaching. And there it is. Perfect. And a couple threads in this one. And now it can find its own center. It's nice and loose. And time to tighten it up so you can see. And it'll even suck this cabinet in just a little bit. I tighten this side so that I don't have to hold the dowel on this side. But yeah, sucks that cabinet right in. So, I mean, this thing is just rock solid. And that liquid nails dries, and I think you'd have a very difficult time getting these out even if you got rid of the screws. Fortunately, this stuff wipes off with acetone, and acetone doesn't eat the veneer, the vinyl. So, 3 more to go. Now, just spread it around the hole. I buy these t-shirts by the case. All I use them for is work. So once they get too much stuff on them, I just throw them out. So once again, this is what, okay, so run it in, and come on, this one's a little tight. It's not that tight, it's just snug. And once that's in that liquid nails, it doesn't want to move. So you gotta just get it to go down a little bit. Oh, which one am I? Yeah. This one is being difficult. Oh, it's not even in yet, that's why. Okay. There. All right. Okay. Perfect. And on and on. Only two more.